Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. I have a little stack of vintage antique girly magazines, and I thought we could pick one just to flip through. These are a little bit older than the ones I've flipped through in the past. These are all of them are from June of 1931, and we gave these to my father-in-law one year for his birthday because he was born in June of 1931. And we gave it to him with he had requested a license plate from 1931 and some other things. And we had gone on a massive search to find him that license plate and some old magazines and things. And after he passed, we were clearing out his house and found the box. And I don't think he'd even opened the tissue paper. So he was kind of funny like that. But so I opened it up today and said, let's take a look. I should have brought the license plate up here. So what we have Field and Stream from 1931. It says vacation places. See the where to go department. Well, that could potentially be interesting. Look how they wrote the and, the ampersand. So this one could be good. I don't know. Whatever we don't go through today, just let me know and we can always look through it another day. This is Better Homes and Gardens, 10 cents. And it's a painting on the front. It doesn't give us a clue as to what it will have in here, so that one might be interesting. I do like that. That's Popular Science. And there's an airplane on the front. This is pre-World War II. Thinking I might like that one right now. Gas bags save land planes disabled at sea. That could be interesting. And then hunting and fishing. 5 cents, but 10 cents in Canada. Patronize your local sporting goods dealer. Here's a large mouth bass. I have caught plenty of bass in my day. I'll have to show you guys the picture sometime of me holding a gigantic bass. My uncle was a big time fisherman. I mean, I don't mean like pro, but he loved to fish. And, he taught me to fish. And he just died like 2 days ago. So that's very sad. But I always think of him when I think of being outdoors in the wilderness and everything. On that note, I will be going away for a while, but I'll try to record a bunch of videos in advance. So that's part of what I'm doing right now. Okay, Popular Science. Let's see what this one's about. Look at that. It's like a what do you call it? Art Deco kind of designed ad for Cadillac. Illustrated below is Fleetwood's International of the 2 or 4 passenger coupe for the V12 chassis. Wow. I mean, look at that car. Look at the lines. It goes like this is the 30s and the 40s. I think these started to have more of a rounded back here, like a fast back look. Really cool. Oh my god. Do you guys see what I see? This is showing an ever-ready battery, and they're showing the flashlight, which, by the way, this is the exact flashlight we used to have when I went camping as a kid. And I'm sure my dad, you guys think I'm frugal. My dad was real frugal. And we probably had flashlights that were from when he was a kid. But they were these metal ones, and they had a button, and they would make a pool of light about that big. But these women, they're two women, and she has a suitcase, and they have a pool of light. I gotta show this to you up close. Hold on. Let me hold it up. I'm sorry. Did they just find a body? I think they did. Is this like Nancy Drew or what? That's funny. Does it say something here? Nope. Whoever made that, painted that picture was like, LOL. I'll make them find a body. Look at the table of contents. Huh. And then they have how man was created. Can enemy planes wipe out America? Ooh, I bet that was a hot topic. Whispering wires catch birds' strange secrets. Tony Fokker in the World War. That makes me think of Meet the Parents. Dust exploding like dynamite cost millions. Goodness. Thrills I get piloting an air taxi. X-ray, new watchdog of safety. Brain test, keep crooks in line. Test with movie camera, prove that our legs are pendulums. Okay. And then they show like the different automobiles, aviation, engineering, health and hygiene, models, new processes and inventions, photography, radio, ships, unusual facts and ideas. For the homeowner, craftwork, woodworking, ideas for the handyman, hints for the mechanic. This is all in here. Wow. Quit work at 55. Okay, what do I need to do? Really, I wouldn't. I mean, part of my work is doing this channel. I wouldn't want to quit that. So, your retirement income begins at any age you say, 55, 60, 65. It can be in any amount you wish, 100 a month, 200, 300. So this is some kind of retirement income plan. All right. This is an advertisement for razor blades. I think to this day my dad uses one of these razors. You unscrew it and you put the flat double-sided razor in there and screw it back on. I'm pretty sure he still uses that. I have a scar on one of my fingers. I think it's this one. I took the whole top of my finger off. I never told my parents, so if my mom watches this, she'll find out. But they were out for the night, and this was like when my brother and sister would have been babysitting me instead of a babysitter, you know. But for some reason, I was curious about my dad's razor, and I think I unscrewed it and opened it up because I was always getting into stuff. As soon as I shut the bathroom door, it was like I was Nancy Drew. I would be digging through. There was inside our bathroom, there was the medicine cabinet and like where you keep towels, but also there was just all sorts of stuff my mom had in there. So I would go through and like mix together like different lotions and perfumes to make special lotions. I ate the X-Lax because it looked like a chocolate bar and I thought it would taste good, but it didn't taste good. But one time I opened his razor and I cut the top of my finger like right off, and I still have a scar there to this day that's numb. Like I can't feel that part of my finger. Anyway, but what I was going to say, they're all wearing tuxedos. Anyway, okay. Ball and roller bearings. When a bearing goes to sea, there's nothing but performance that counts. Should I buy a new radio now? And they show in 1922 and 1927, and they're just getting so much better. So it's up to you. Oh my, it looks like she's underwater, but I think she has air conditioning or something. not air conditioning, but airflow in her car, maybe. Yeah. It's Insulate that show you how to insulate your car against motor heat. Oh, interesting. So I guess before they had that, the heat of the engine running would burn you. It probably would be really hot. And so they started putting Insulate. And I think a lot of times this was just made out of a thin wool, a layer of wool. I remember in one house we had that was built, oh gosh, I think it was in Baltimore. I think it was built in the 30s, but it had newspaper in the walls as insulation. At least on one wall it did. Our readers say, look at the doggy, his boiling point isn't low either. What? When I read the letter from Goshen, Indiana in a recent issue of Popular Science Monthly, I sure started to boil. The very idea of anyone saying such a thing about Popular Science Monthly is enough to make me bite a 10-penny nail in two. Whoa, what did somebody say? When O.O. wrote that letter, he must have been under some malign influence. I say that Popular Science Monthly is the best magazine published, and if Mr. O.O. can't show me a magazine with more science in it, I will take it along with your magazine, but I will never stop taking Popular Science Monthly as long as I live. Wow. Somebody must have said something really bad. Here's an attractive problem. Okay, they show a guy. He's got a giant magnet on a pulley. Here is a new one for your readers to figure out, if any are able to do so. Suppose you had a magnet, okay, and directly underneath this magnet was a needle, okay. Suppose that the needle was held down by a thread in the middle so that it could be lifted up by the magnet, but would still be restrained by the thread. Okay, hold on. I'm feeling the need. We may need to draw this out. All right, so we have the pulley, and we have the magnet. We have a needle that is held on by a thread. Okay. So that it could be lifted up by the magnet, but would still be restrained by the thread. Now, hold your magnet just above the length of the thread so that the magnet is supporting the needle, okay, but still not touching it. All right, so it is being pulled. But they're not touching. Okay. Check, check, check. I hope this isn't leaking through now. Will the magnet weigh any more while it is supporting the needle? The magnet is not touching the needle, but still it is supporting it and the thread. I shall be very glad to have your readers figure this out with me and let me know in the columns of Our Reader Says. All right, so he's saying you have a measurement here for weight. And he's wondering, will the weight of the magnet be greater because it's pulling a needle that is attached to something? I am no scientist. I don't know anything about how these things work. I would say the weight might go up a little bit, but it's not that we have increased the weight of the magnet. We have increased the pull of the magnet. So it is bearing more weight, this rope is, but the magnet's weight hasn't increased, just the pull. I don't know how else to explain that. That's my answer to you, dear reader, dear. Okay. Huh. Yeah, so they have all these different questions, but no answers. Where do the answers show up? I guess people are sort of answering sometimes, but you'd have to know. And ooh, this person says of the answers people give, I agree with HP of Black Eddie PA in that I do not like the babblings of these so-called scientists. He's talking about me. Their wild guessing is laughable. And that's why I read Popular Science Monthly. Oh, maybe he's not. I don't know what he's talking about. All right. What else do we have here? Masonite makes modern homes. One house I did an addition. My husband and my dad and I and some other people. We worked on an addition, like, by ourselves. But I think it was masonite on it, which is made of asbestos. So we had to contact the, city and get special suits and vacuums and stuff to take it down to build an addition, which we did. I actually wasn't there for that because I took the kids and left, but there are pictures of my dad and uncle and husband in these full, they look like they're going to the moon or something. They're in these suits. How man was created. Raymond J. Brown, editor. This is the first of a series of talks between William K. Gregory, world-famous scientist of the American Museum of Natural History, and Michael Mock, a staff writer. I just saw a thing the other day about, I don't want to malign the American Museum of Natural History. I could have this wrong, but I think it was either the Smithsonian, and they had on display a real, he was from some island, I think, where he was like a tribal, I can't explain it right, but, and they had him on display, like he was alive. It was crazy. They had him with monkeys or something. It's crazy. Anyway, all right. Creation as measured by the radium clock. 1 hour equals 250 million years. We're talking 1930, and I think radiocarbon dating, they started to really learn about that like around 1900, I think. Look, I'm doing the guy saying babbling. I don't know for sure. I didn't look it up. But I think that's about right. So this would have been a pretty interesting article, I imagine. So they show gaseous Earth torn from the sun. Gases cool and the Earth forms. First life appears. Primitive life in the sea. First land animals at about, 10 o'clock? And then reptiles. And then I would say mammals, and they show man is like 5 to midnight. And I would think that hasn't changed much because it's only been less than 100 years. If that was it. Who says, thanks to the work of Mr. and Mrs. Curie. I don't know why I threw a goofy French accent. Above the discoveries of radium, the world now has a clock. Was I've only ever heard of Marie Curie. Now I'm having trouble saying her name because I want to make it more Frenchy. Anyway, the discovery of radium, the world now has a clock shown at the top of the page that can be used to date the steps in man's lost history. It's really interesting. In fact, we should do a video on radium carbon dating. They look at the radioactive isotopes of, I think, the decaying matter to tell how old it is. It's interesting. I don't know that much about it, but it's been a long time since I learned about that. I used to get Popular Science, well, my brother did, in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, I guess. He would get it and I'd read it after him. All right. Can enemy planes wipe out America? Wow. Let's see. What are they? Will America be destroyed from the air? Will winged messengers of death ride over the country, raining poisonous gas on men, women, and children? Will they drop a hail of bombs and demolish the skyscrapers of New York, or swoop down for a lightning attack on the Capitol at Washington? I did a video on the interstates, and part of why they built a lot of the interstates was to be able to move military equipment from base to base. I recall, if I'm recalling that correctly. And it kind of has to do with this. It's kind of interesting because they were using trains and they were like, well, we want to be able to get to other places. The picture, fantastic a score of years ago, is now in the realm of possibility. The Southern Cross and the Graf Zeppelin have traced an aerial ring around the globe. A squadron of Italian army planes has hopped the Atlantic in flying formation. The oceans that formerly meant isolation to America have been bridged, and an enemy attack from the air probably would be the first step in a future war. Pearl Harbor, anyone? So here's a drawing, shows points of attack, incoming war game, and graphically suggests possibilities for ruin in real war. Man, I hope we don't end up in some kind of stupid war again. Oh, gosh. Whispering wires catch birds' strange secrets. This guy is trapping a house wren. Don't do that. It's not nice. Look at this. Oh my gosh. What are these two up to? Into these queer-looking nets, quail fly and are caught for banding without harming them. Huh. I've never seen that. They're like ziny nets in the water. Our owl box, in the off-season, we cover the hole so that squirrels don't get in there. But I had seen owls in the area early. They usually don't come till February. So we took off the door on the hole and opened it up. And today there were 4 squirrels in the owl box. We had to go evict them. Evicted. Tony Fokker and the World War. Air battles give a new fury when Dutch boy hooks machine gun to propeller. Rivals plan his ruin. Oh, so this was like the first machine gun airplane? Oh, that's interesting. Before the war ended, Fokker, seen on the left, was a German officer, and he is seen in uniform of his rank. At left, Fokker and the Crown Prince. One Tuesday evening in 1915, an excited young man leaped aboard a train pulling out of Berlin station for northern Germany. He was Anthony Fokker, Dutch designer of fighting planes. Under his arm was a precious bundle destined to revolutionize battles in the sky. Wow, 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 wow. Movie New Eye of a Microscope in War on Germs. Oh, what? So he made a movie projector that is attached to the microscope. So they could probably watch and rewatch. Is that? That's interesting. R.R. Rife, once a chauffeur, has devised a means of preserving with a movie camera the life history of man's most deadly microscopic enemies. What are these ones? Look, they look so creepy. Larva of a hookworm, magnified 12,000 times, is seen just after it's emerged from an egg. At right, bacteria of typhus shows the filaments. Hookworm used to be, they're in the soil, and especially like in the south where it's warm, I think there are a lot of them. And a lot of people walked around barefoot because, one, it's hot, and two, shoes that, people didn't necessarily have the money for shoes. And they'd get hookworm. I'm pretty sure it's hookworm. And it would cause, it eats all your nutrition out of you, I think, and cause like mental deficits, basically. And as soon as I figured out they could give you a dewormer, and within days it's like gone. So it was a real advancement figuring out the hookworm thing. Let's see. It is with this mechanism in a home-built laboratory that Rife magnifies minute organisms 12,000 times and makes pictures of their activity. Good for you. R.R. Rife. Dust exploding like dynamite cost millions. Oh my goodness, I bet it does. Why? It was a little after 6 o'clock on March evening. The world's largest grain elevator, a sprawling 10 million bushel monster of steel and concrete, lay silent on the outskirts of Chicago. Only a night crew of 6 remained on duty. Suddenly, there was a terrific blast. Flames roared through the broken windows. Walls crumbled like dry crackers. A spark from an unknown source in the tunnels beneath the 100-foot-high storage bin had leaped into the dust-filled air. It had set off an explosive as dangerous as dynamite. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Huh. What is the dust? Let's see if we can get to the answer. This Wisconsin feed mill, first wrecked by exploding grain dust, was nearly wiped out by the succeeding flames. At left, elevator in which the blast lifted 40 giant grain bins. So it would just catch on the dust from the grain. If you've ever had a kitchen fire and accidentally threw flour on it, thinking that would put it out instead of baking soda, it will explode. Don't ever do that. So is that the dust that's catching on fire? It says if you throw a bar of aluminum or a cake of soap into your stove, nothing happens. But if you ignite fine soap or aluminum dust, you are touching off an explosive almost as dangerous as TNT. What is the explanation? Everyone knows that it is easier to light shavings than kindling, and that it takes less time to ignite kindling than logs. The reason is that in proportion to their bulk, the smaller pieces of combustible material are surrounded by greater quantities of oxygen and consequently are consumed more rapidly. Okay, that's wild. Searchlight Radio, Carrie's voice. This might be an advertisement, maybe, I'm not sure. Sick room gets artificial climate. When the cover of this apparatus is lowered, the patient is completely surrounded by artificial climate in which warmth, humidity, and air movements are constantly regulated by electricity. That's kind of what they use for little, premature babies. Anemia treated with iron and copper milk. Sheets of iron and copper are soaked in milk until tiny quantities dissolve, and the result is fed to sufferers from anemia. Interesting. If you cook in cast iron, the iron comes out of the cast iron, and you get iron. So if you're low in iron, that's a good way to increase the iron in your diet. But if you're like a regular healthy person, you have to be a little careful with cast iron because you can get too much iron, and they're starting to think that may lead to strokes and heart problems, having too much iron. So you do have to, like, figure that out. Anyway, just a side note. Tests have showed striking benefit from the strange metallized milk. That is interesting. Through its use, a patient can swallow a daily dose of iron and copper of 1/4 the weight of an ordinary postage stamp. The treated milk is not affected in color, odor, or taste, provided the metal is pure. Wow. Okay. What is this? Lands plane to get hat. An example of what happened in the future when airplanes become more popular was shown in Chicago, Illinois the other day. J.V. Neal was trying out a midget plane when his hat flew off. He saw it land in a backyard. Then he flew down, landed in the yard, got his hat, and took off. Searchlight radio carries voice. Giant light writes ads on cloud. Berlin crowds can now see advertisements projected on the clouds in the night. Well, you'd have to have just the right cloud cover. In letters 1/4 mile high. Were they to follow the streamers of rays to their source, they would find a giant auto train occupying 70 feet of roadway. That's something I feel like you don't see as much. It used to be when I was younger. You would see these lights in the sky, and you'd go, where's that light coming from? And we used to go cruising. That's what you'd call it. You'd go out on Friday or Saturday night and just get in your car and drive all night long. And that was cruising. And you'd put on cool music, and you'd see everybody else and wave and maybe stop somewhere and eat or something. But sometimes you'd see one of these lights, and you would just go, let's go find it. And you'd drive and drive and drive. And it was usually like a car dealership or something along those lines. But I remember one time it was a carnival, and we were like, oh, cool, let's go to the carnival. Mighty electric arc recovers gold. Neon arc tubes show big radio image. New electric lamp is water cooled. Garden rake designed to prevent clogging. It's almost 100 years later, and my rake still clogs. I have to pull it all out. Ship models for all the world tested in the U.S. Navy Yard. Gigantic X-ray tubes designed for war on cancer. Oh, is this the beginning of like proton radiation or something like that? Wow, look how big these tubes are for it. This great X-ray tube, which uses the power of 600,000 volts, is being built at the California Institute of Technology. It was designed by Robert Millikan and Charles Luriston. That's interesting, isn't it? Where do they say? It's funny, I don't see where it actually says about. Its design is based on 6 months of experimental work with a similar instrument at present in use at the California Institute of Technology. Although it has been planned to use a power of 600,000 volts, in an emergency, its power can be increased to 1 million volts. The tube being built at Schenectady was designed by Dr. W.D. Coolidge of the General Electric Company's staff, and when completed will be installed in the Memorial Hospital in New York. The Titanic instrument will be used in science wars against cancer. They will produce rays comparable to radium's gamma rays, which cannot be produced in low power X rays. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Interesting. Non-fade wallpaper proved by test. High-pitched sounds kill human cells. Whoa. If the squeak of a rusty door hinge or a piece of chalk upon a blackboard sets your nerves on edge, perhaps there's a reason. When loud and high-pitched enough, it is actually deadly to the cells and small organisms, investigators have found. Is that true? Both germs and red corpuscles of human blood were killed by audible noise in tests conducted by Professor O.B. Williams at University of Texas, bacteriologist. And they put the germs in a flask and set the vessel in a tank of water. Agitating the water with a nickel tube vibrated by electromagnets about 8,800 times a second. It produced sound waves so intense as to be best described as a terrific squeak. Curved file gives nails the right shape. Yeah, you'd have to have the right size nail. Oh my goodness, look at all these science things. Electric Carlion plays loudest bell notes. Private yacht is also a firefighting boat. That'd be fun. Sleep while you... Oh my gosh, I need this. Sleep while you ride with this new headrest, and it's like attached to the ceiling, and he can lean his head in there. That's what I need for airplanes. Magic plates tap sun for power. Oh my gosh. Solar. As this is written, an amazing lamp has burned each day for several months in Berlin, Germany laboratory. An electric light run by current created by sunshine. 1930, they started that. I feel like it's something that we could do more with. It feels like we should. I feel like it was 10 years ago or something that I read. I think it was Musk was going to make these roof tiles that look just like shingles on your roof, but they're solar. And I was like, sign me up. Whatever happened to that? Is that happening? New film gives night to movie. Oh, because it was really hard to film without bright light. Super sensitive camera and high-powered incandescent lamps add realism to work in pictures. Mineral oil sprayed by giant atomizers. How do you say that? Atomizer. Gives the appearance of fog, thick or thin as desired. Oof, they were breathing in all that mineral oil. I don't know. This real fog for a movie scene was made with mineral oil vaporized by big atomizers and blown by airplane propellers. Yeah, 1930. I mean, isn't that when oh my gosh, Rosebud was made. Gone with the Wind. They started making really cool movies with lots of shadow and really big, beautiful film. World's highest dam is rising. The Hoover Dam. I've driven right over this before. Barbers learn trade shaving blockheads. Who you calling a blockhead? Revolving score pad for contract bridge. Oh, like the bridge game. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, look. Vertical rollers iron off surplus flesh. Okay. Where do I get one of these? So you stand there and they roll around you and it makes you skinny. This reducing machine has vertical rollers set in a ring within which the user stands. Now, you can't tell me there were any scientists who were like, yeah, that's working. You know what this does? It keeps you from walking to the kitchen. You know, it's funny. She's got a cigarette. She's sitting there with her cigarette and her book. Probably there's a martini on to the side. An unusual reducing machine was demonstrated recently in New York City. A series of vertical rollers completely surround the person using it. They can be adjusted to suit the user of different girths. Turning a switch starts the rollers going, literally ironing off excess poundage. Okay. Those who have tried the machine say the movement of the rollers is so gentle and smoothing that no discomfort is caused by them. The platform on which the user stands while undergoing the reducing treatment is adjustable to suit persons of different heights and can be seen in photo. Okay. That seems a little pseudoscience. Electric signals used to flash up bowler scores. Oh, wow. Wow, wow. So they have the bowling alley. Where are they being? Oh, they're here. They're behind them. Interesting. And it had a foul lane monitor. My mom, when she was young, had the job of being a pin setter. So she'd be behind there, and when they all got knocked down, she'd have to set them all up. Seems crazy. Yesterday they ruled the sea. Today they lie bound to humble uses. Or ships. Nebraska was once home of this tiny 3-foot camel whose skeleton is now in a Harvard museum. Coin in slot unlocks public typewriter. I've seen a lot of typewriters. I don't know that I've ever seen one with a coin operation on it. A lot of typewriters. I've seen them all. Brain test keeps crooks in line. Is this the... In the world of crime, sheep can now be separated from goats. Sheep are those who can and will reform. Goat crooks are those who can't and won't. New Jersey state experts, wise in the ways of a crook, have given 10,000 mental tests to jail and reformatory inmates during the past 2 years. The tests were made under the direction of Dr. James Q. Halsapple, formerly of Yale University, now chief clinical psychologist of the New Jersey State Department of Institutions and Agencies. Okay. This sounds terrible. Oh my gosh. The tests proved that the man who sneaks into your yard at night and steals a chicken and the bandit who stages a daylight bank robbery and shoots it out with the cops essentially had the same mental makeup. Oh boy. It was found that almost all criminals have 4 traits in common. They have little, if any, control over their feelings. Often they are not quite bright, though seldom feeble-minded. They act quickly upon suggestions without considering the consequences. They are unable to tell the fine points of differences between one situation and another. So in other words, they're mostly young men. A 5th trait shared by many, but not by all, is the inability to unlearn what once has been learned. In other words, the inability to shake off old habits of thinking. I don't like this test. Because this guy is going to just do this test and then go, nope, you can't be rehabilitated. Oof. Stars drawn by prisoners from mirror images. Man who drew the ragged one on the right probably could not reform. I remember doing this at a science center. You look in a mirror above you and you see the star and you have to like draw it. So if you can't do it, then you're unreformable. Oh no. Dr. J.Q. Halasapi left above is giving a criminal the mirror drawing test, which he must change his usual writing method, in which he must change his usual. I see. They have him looking like at the mirror and he can't see what it's underneath what he's drawing. Oh gosh. Among the hundreds of tests given, this is this one in which the man is required to fit pegs into holes of various shapes and sizes. His ability to do this gauges his mentality. Here is another test that uses the pegs in strange holes. The erratic and subnormal fail completely at this test. Oh gosh. Those who are quick-tempered, easily angered, easily amused are likely to violate a parole. They act without thinking. They may kill a man simply because he calls them names. Most men... Okay. Oh, it's on a different page. Well, let's just say that. Somebody look this guy up. Holsopple. Dr. Hallsopple. I think this would have been found to be inaccurate testing and very subjective. Tests with movie camera prove our legs are a pendulum. And they show like all the oil and gas preserve eggs by a process that keeps them fresh for months. By adding gassine with carbon dioxide to a new oil treatment for the preservation of eggs, has greatly improved the process. X-ray discloses mummies' secrets. Well, that's pretty neat. New tobacco pouch has room for a pipe. Well, that doesn't seem like science, but okay. Hot Papa protects life of Navy flyers. English nurses drill in gas masks. Nature sculptures strange forms of man and beast in her eternal rock. Pulpit Rock in Yellowstone. This is in the Colorado Rockies. Teapot Dome. I think I've been to a lot of these. Ooh, new jack lifts by the wheel rim. Oh, okay, I don't know about that. What if the wheel turns? I don't know. All right, rubber cap on chisel protects workmen. Cap on chisel, yeah. Look, sound picture made in real jungle. I mean, there was a time when you couldn't know what that was like, except photos. Ride to work sailing on a coal car. He put his sails on there. That's funny. Small home builder builds his own house. All his pet theories prove good. Okay. I mean, I'm curious what I see. He just made all these little recessed stand for telephone with ornamental cabinet for directory. So, like, here's the telephone, and then the directory goes in this drawer. I've seen these. A cozy corner in the living room. Through the archway at the left is the dining room. This bungalow, with but one floor, was built for convenience of the owners. I like that. So you come in the porch, and there's a library. That's this, I think, maybe. There's a living room, dining room, and then, I don't know, BRK room. Oh, breakfast room, kitchen. And then you have a porch, and there's a fireplace. A little pantry with steps to go outside, and a bedroom, and a bedroom, and a bathroom. I like it. Is that it? That's cute. That'll do. And look at this beautiful kitchen with the archway with tiles all up on it. Oh, I love it. I do like it. Helpful new tools for homemakers. A versatile game table. I think my son and his girlfriend got one of these because she likes to do puzzles, but they have a very small place so they can put a top on it and do puzzles. But use it for dining. A curling iron. Oh, this seems like a good idea. So the stove has the little girl sitting on it. You can sit on the stove. That's great. Insulation board with aluminum top cover forms this blanket, which keeps heat of wood, coal, or oil stove from escaping, keeping the kitchen cool. I still don't think we should probably sit on the stove. Okay. Compact refrigerator. A friend of mine had kids who were a little wild. And her kids would walk on the counters in the kitchen barefoot. Like, that's where I draw the line. Dirty feet on the kitchen counter. No. Absolutely not. Why your car needs insurance. How to take better photos. The home workshop. Secrets of successful gluing. Yes, clamp it. That's it. Why is it necessary to glue with the grain? Yes, when boards are insufficiently dry to make good joints. Yeah, you got them dry. Which is the outside and which is the inside face of a board? Well, a board will have a curve in it. So that's your answer. How to be sure a glue joint is going to hold? Put a ton of glue on and clamp it. There are your answers. Novel ball and chain desk set. Ball and chain desk set. What? Oh. What? Portrays a prisoner's dream. That's weird. Oh, they're showing you how to make a rubber band car. Yeah. Models. How to make all these different models. Holy. What? Announcing Kodak International $100,000 competition for amateur picture taker. Did they really give away on? That would be like $1 bazillion today. What? They did not. Oh, they gave away 25. That they gave away all these smaller prizes. Whoa. One time my son won a film contest. And so you go to the event and they gave him one of those gigantic checks. but they never sent him a real check. And he kept bugging them, and he's like, while I appreciate the gigantic check, it's the bank would not cash it. Took months and months to get the real money. And that was only because we kept bugging them. He won another film contest, which had a scholarship to the college he was planning to go to. And when it came time to get that scholarship, he kept bugging them, and they said, well, you already got this other scholarship, and you can't, like, stack them. Like, well, that wasn't in any small print. I tell ya. Indian motorcycles, look at that. Up, over, and away, give your Indian the gas. Slip through the parade of the Sunday driver safely, swiftly, easily. Your Indian takes you away and beyond. Wow. I love the idea of a motorcycle, but they're just too dangerous. I've known too many people who've gotten in accidents. You too can have a good electrical job. Jobs paying $60 to $200 a week. I think that would be pretty good pay for a week in 1930. Patents protect your idea. Like somebody had dog-eared this page. They're like, oh, I've got a good idea. I'm going to protect it. This is all about getting patents. Everybody is coming up with ideas. Magic book sent free. Amaze and mystify your friends. Straight and far with a face that's fit. Aquavelva. A great decision in any man's life. Dill's best is America's best. This is a tin of tobacco. And he's going to Niagara Falls and Hotel something Monty, Del Monte or something. Ooh, and he's with some girl who wears really frilly shoes, and there's confetti all over. This man's living the life. Oh boy, is he living the life. It almost looked like a doctor's bag he's carrying here.